Let's go back to Victor Gao, a Chinese diplomat who joined us there, and we just lost the line very briefly while we were talking to you. I just put the question to you, Victor, about the scenario in which Donald Trump comes good on his promise of imposing 60% tariffs on certain Chinese goods. What options does China have when it comes to a response to that?
First of all these tariffs that Mr. Donald Trump wants to impose on the Chinese export to the United States are taxes on the American people. And eventually they will drive up inflation, eroding the living standards and the quality of life of the American people. And eventually it will be very destructive of the U.S. economic development in itself. I highly admire Donald Trump for taking positions that he will stick to peace rather than war in any part of the world. And if he really cares about peace, China-US peace should be the most important. That means whatever problems we need to solve them in peace, in diplomacy, in negotiations. So I'm actually very confident about the 4 years to come in terms of China and the United States dealing with each other as equal and getting onto the same page to solve the very complicated issues between our two countries. Let's keep our faith and let's hope for the best while prepared to deal with the worst.
Now, we have heard, of course, that Chinese electric vehicles really are a thorn in the side of the US auto market. Do you see a link at all between Donald Trump's threat on tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and also Elon Musk's firm support for Donald Trump?
First of all, I think the Biden administration has made the worst mistake in eliminating or banning anything Chinese for the EV car export, software, hardware, etc. It's total ban. Now, I remember Donald Trump mentioned that maybe there is a better way. That is to encourage the Chinese EV makers to set up plants in the United States together with the American companies to speed up the acceleration of the EV revolution in the United States, creating more high-quality jobs in the United States. I think that is the real choice. The real competition in EV cars is not between China and the United States. It is between the fuel car, which is a technology of the past, and EV car, which is a technology of today and tomorrow. So if the United States really want to achieve that major leap of faith in terms of making sure the automobile industry in the United States is sustainable, they need to choose to cooperate with China, because China has built up absolutely a leading advantage in EV car revolution. And if the United States wants to drag their feet, they are actually turning the automobile industry in the United States into another Kodak. That is not in the best interest of the American people, I'm afraid.
Mr. Gao, this is my last question to you. And I just want to ask you whether there is a perception in China that's widely held amongst not just the politicians, but the public as well, that the United States is determined to hold China back. Does that perception live on, do you think?
I think that perception, as you mentioned, is deeply entrenched because Biden has been saying that, Harris has been saying that, and Trump has been saying that, etc. I think from the Chinese perspective, we just need to refuse to be agitated. We need to maintain our own sanity and deal with the United States as it is, rather than losing our own composure. Because we're firmly convinced that better relations between China and the United States is not only possible, but is inevitable. Both China and the United States need to deal with each other with respect and absolutely avoid any deterioration of the relations leading in the direction of confrontation or even war. And any problems between us, huge number of them, very serious problems, need to be dealt with in peace and full respect and diplomacy. That gives me the confidence that between China and the United States, we have the inevitability of peace. We need to embrace peace rather than agitating for war. And trade tariffs are not working. It's not going to serve the fundamental interests of the American people. And that is why I think China and the United States need to engage with each other as quickly as possible. And Donald Trump, in his capacity as the new president of the United States, need to be welcomed warmly in Beijing. The sooner, the better, rather than what Biden has done, refusing to visit China in his administration, which is such a disaster in itself.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Victor Gao, Vice President for the Centre for China and Globalization. Thank you very much.